Hello and welcome to Gameplay for All Seasons, the channel where we talk about new games, games that are upcoming and games from the past. Today we're talking about Championship Manager and about amazing youngsters from the turn of the millennium and what's happened to them. So these are the players, not the players which they may have been young but really well known. So your Saviolas, your Ronaldinhos, your Messis, your Robins, they were already on the path to greatness and was appearing here and there. We're talking about the characters and the players you could pick up for next to nothing in the game. They're the sort of punts where they were the people who come up with the game were thinking these players may come on to be something special. So we're focusing on strikers here, and this is going to be how they actually did in their career after Championship Manager. Now, got lots of videos coming up, so this is our first foray into games of yesteryear, but I am going to be doing an upcoming video on management sims from the 90s and the top 5 of those, so look out for that. Subscribe if that sounds interesting to you. Also, if this is interesting to you on Championship Manager, happy to do more of these videos. Let me know in the comment, do the thumbs up, and I know you like it. And we can maybe do midfielders, goalkeepers, defenders. There's lots and lots of places that a video like this can go to. So as I say, subscribe if any of that sounds interesting. So as I say, in this video, we're talking about Championship Manager about 20 years ago and those players you can really pick up for cheap and the strikers, so your goal machines. Now, all of these players are absolute legends, and I'm sure if you played the game back then, you would have had 1, 2, maybe even all 5 of these players because they really were very good players at the time. So starting off then, we're going to start off with Cherno Samba. I'm sure that's a name that most of you are familiar with. Now, he was a absolute goal machine in the game. He was very, very young when it started, and he just went on to great things, played for England, and did, as I say, was an absolute goal machine. Now, why did they make him such a good player? Well, when he was only 13 years old, he was already making headlines and breaking records. He scored 132 goals in just 32 games from his childhood club. And so Millwall snapped him up. They've got a really good academy, famously good academy, so it was a good place for him to go to. He was playing so well that Liverpool and Man United even showed an interest. Liverpool even had a £2 million offer turned down for him. Surprisingly though, he never actually ended up playing for Millwall, and in fact he never really seemed to cement a first team place anywhere. He played games here and there. He played 13 times for Plymouth Argyle, which is the most time he spent at a club in the UK. He scored 1 goal there. And he also played for the Gambia national team a handful of times, and he scored a header there as well. So potentially didn't quite reach the heights that was set out for him in Championship Manager, but you know that would have been a lot to live up to. So number 2 now is Tonton Zola Moukoko. Again, if you know anything about this game, that will be a name that you'd know, and I'm sure you've probably had the player. Now, he again was a player. He was a Swedish player. He was doing very, very good things as a young player, and as they went to make the game, they assumed he was going to go on to really great things. Now, in real life, he did turn down an offer from AC Milan when he was very young, but he actually joined Derby County. In terms of how his career actually went, he never broke into the Derby first team, and for the remainder of his career, he kind of moved around club to club, mainly in Scandinavia. So that's kind of the way his career went. He's now gone into management, actually. So again, next person, we have Julius Agahowa. Again, a player that was doing great things in the game. So he played, after the game was set at the turn of the millennia, he was playing for Shakhtar Donetsk, and he carried on playing with them. So he played up until 2007. He scored 32 goals in 89 games. He did actually score the winner and get man of the match in a cup performance, which apparently really sort of helped his career because he was struggling a bit at that time. But, you know, if I look at that goal record, that looks pretty reasonable. He moved to Wigan and he did actually play in the Premier League. However, he didn't score in 20 games for them, so he left to play for a team in Turkey. He did return to Shakhtar Donetsk a few years later, but he never quite secured a decent run in the team, and he retired around 30 years old. And when we talk about legends of Championship Manager, they probably don't get much bigger than this. Next one, it's a player whose name got spelt wrong in the game, is Maxim, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Maxim Chazalco. He was a Belarusian player, and again, as a young player, he was doing very good things. The person who set his stats was a young man who was told, go off, set the stats for the Belarus players. He was given no restrictions on what he could do. So as the most promising young Belarusian player, he thought he was going to do great things, be the next Ronaldo or Maradona or whichever great player you want to compare him to. So he really did kind of go nuts on the stats. In terms of his actual career, he did play for Dynamo Minsk, and he was doing very well there as a player. He scored a goal roughly one every 2 games, but he did get injured. And then after that, he started moving around to other clubs and actually ended up retiring at 26 due to injuries. So the last player, and this is probably the weirdest of all of them, to be honest, and again, an absolute goal machine. You sort of guarantee you a goal, is this Portuguese goal machine, which is Tô Madeira. Now, the reason this is a bit of a strange one is because he isn't a real player at all. He was absolutely amazing in the game, but he was just completely made up by one of the multitude of scouts that the game creators send out there. So he was sent out there to come up with a Portuguese player, and for some reason he just decided to completely make up this amazing player who was brilliant, and he actually just got put into the game, so it could be an interesting story there. However, as the game creators realised he wasn't real, he was actually dropped from later versions, so a bit of an interesting one there. If you've enjoyed this video and you don't want to miss out on future videos like this or other retro looks back at games, then as I say, subscribe. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and I'll make more like this. If you have burning thoughts or questions or ideas or players that I may have missed, then put it all in the comments and I'll be getting back on those. Till next time.